welcome to the museum and to our work and to this amazing space that allows you to interact with our culture. أهلا وسهلا فيكم طبعا ومبسوطة إنه أكون معكم. حبيت إنه أبدأ هيك بشغلة صغيرة طبعا ما عرفت إذا شفتوا العمل. Did you happen to see the work? Yes. Okay, it's the name is a bit strange. Roadmap for Elimination. طبعا الاسم هو شوي غريب لأنه الاسم طبعا خارطة الطريق نحو التصفية. أنا بلشت فيه بعنوان قبل من يشتري خارطة الطريق نحو السلام. أوكي. بس بعد الوقت بعد 25 سنة مفاوضات صار نحو التصفية. When I started this work, the title of this work was Who Buys the Roadmap for Peace in the Middle East? So nowadays it's actually shifted to become who roadmap for elimination, because it's a fact. After how many years? 71 years and 26 years of negotiations, we became to a dead end. And so that's why I'm actually going to talk about the work at the end, but I would like to start with a bit of history about the situation. Of course, I come from Galilee. If you would like to have my, I'm speaking immediately in Hebrew, in English, so بس أنا بحكي كمان في العربي يعني. If you want, this is my CV.
I have it.
Okay. So بحب حدا ال CV تبعي. هذا. Do you like my CV? I mean, it's for you, but we can. And this is my artist statement as well. This is the artist statement. Okay. هذه البيان الفني. Do you have the artist statement? Okay, great. So I am coming from Galilee. أنا جيت من الجليل وعشت في خلقت وعشت في الجليل. I was born and raised in Galilee. In a beautiful landscape, beautiful family, beautiful everything, but the only thing that makes me sad and desperate for peace is the political situation, as you can see. طبعا الوضع السياسي، أنا خلقت بالجليل وعشت بالجليل وتربيت بالجليل في أحضان الطبيعة وهيك، بس طبعا ولا مرة حسيت إنه إحنا بأمان، لأنه أول شيء كنا عايشين، أنا عايشة على حدود لبنان وكل الوقت كان في طبعا الأوضاع السياسية، الحرب مع لبنان، 82 مجزرة صبرا وشتيلة، كل ما بعدها الحرب الأهلية وبعدين الحروب الثانية اللي تعاقبت. All I was talking about living in Galilee, living in a confront zone, like it's a hostile zone with the border with Lebanon. Living as a Palestinian on the border is also yet another complication, because you are living in your village and you are surrounded by settlements. So therefore you have to know how to move around. So you are not really, it's not an easy thing to live in your land, and you are surrounded with settlements, and the settlements are also, they are threatening your life, because they are enclosing your space, making it shrinking and shrinking. And that's why when I studied as a child, I became aware of the situation really early. And after the war with Lebanon, many wars of Lebanon, with Lebanon, and the 82 massacre, Sabra and Shatila, I was 11 years old, so I woke up to the news about the massacre. And that you can imagine yourself living in a place, like as a child, to comprehend what is a massacre, what is the real meaning of a massacre. So, you know, that's actually opened my eyes for the political situation. And as well, our village was bombed in 48, in 28 of October. So, of course, my father was one of the people who defended our village. And I was really happy to get the news, the immediate news from my dad, because he was really a very sincere, very loving to his nation, to his land, to his people, and to his family. So I was really very much in touch with my dad to talk about what happened during the war, and he, as well, my grandmother. So I grew up with a very open-minded yet politically aware family to comprehend what has been happening. I'm not going to talk much, but I'm going to talk about, first of all, I adopted in فاهمين علي بالإنجليزي؟ في حاجة أعيد بالعربي؟ أعيد بالعربي؟ يمكن أهون أحكي بالإنجليزي. It's fine. فيعني I was thinking about starting with the landscape, because maybe I will start with the cactus. Cactus is the omnipresent of Palestinian villages and towns. Cactus as a plant, you know, with the thorny, spiky thorns and this beautiful yellow flower and the fruit we eat. It became part of, it's actually part of our nature, part of our landscape. So when I became aware of the situation, I knew more and more, I learned from my dad that this is like a fence, a natural fence that's surrounding our villages to protect us from wild animals. So it actually remained in my mind that this is going to be kind of my tool to use it. And since I was traveling a lot and walking around with my dad and with my family in Galilee and in the Triangle area and in the West Bank, I saw that, you know, around the West Bank also. So I learned that this is, wherever you find the cactus, you know that this is a Palestinian village and town that was depopulated and demolished in 1948. And they are numbered by 531 villages and towns. I'm going to start actually here. Okay, this is my glass book, my Nakbi glass book, where I actually gathered all the names and towns, the names of villages and towns. هاي كتاب النكبي الزجاجي اللي فيه جمعت كل أسماء القرى والمدن الفلسطينية اللي تهدموا وتهجروا في 48. وهون أنا عملياً خليت الموضوع يكون كتير حساس. That's why I actually wanted to have the sense of fragility for such an important and impacted cause. The glass, of course, it's a fragile material, and the glass holds a lot of, you know, it's made out of sand, it's made out of, you know, natural material, yet it's very fragile. So the combination between glass and the fragility of the sand, as well the shores of Palestine, where actually the boats came from Europe to occupy our land. So it's very metaphoric why I chose the glass. Because the fragility of the sand, the fragmentation of the sand, and yet the solid state of the glass, and the combination between them, and the permanent ink on the glass is also a combination. So those are the names of the villages and towns of 531 villages. And since 1948 up till 2013, this was the last piece I did. Maybe I should turn it upside down like this. It's easier. And you can see the layers of the names and the areas of Palestine, the Akka, Haifa, Safad, and all the names of the regions of Palestine. هذه عمليا الكتاب الزجاجي اللي هو معمول من ازاز عشان يرجي هشاشه الازاز، بس بنفس الوقت هو الازاز معمول من الرمل طبعا، وبأرجي قديش طبعا انا بعبر فيه عن شواطئ فلسطين اللي هي عمليا شواطئ حلوه وجميله، بس بنفس الوقت عن طريق الشواطئ هاي تم احتلال فلسطين، يعني اجى بالسفن، وبرضه البحر هو اللي طلع اللاجئين. يعني هون كمان في دمج بين عمليا النكبة في 48 وكيف عمليا هي كانت عامل مساعد لأهالينا يتهجروا، لأنه عمليا مثلا حيفا ويافا كيف حشروهم وأخذوهم على الميناء وطلعوهم على السفن، بينما السفن القادمة من أوروبا والسفن اللي مهاجرين الجدد اللي بسموهم عمليا اللي اجوا فيها العصابات الصهيونية واستوطنوا في بلدنا. يعني فهون عمليا أنا فيه كتير دمج بين كتير عوامل من تحكي عن النكبة، وطبعا لأنه هو عمليا قضية كتير هامة وكتير ثقيلة اللي ممكن تنكسر بأي لحظة. هذا الكتاب عمليا بشكل جانبي من هون، وطبعا لأنه كتير صعب الواحد يفتحه. This is really fragile and you have to be very careful to open it and read through it, and that's also on purpose to show how fragile our cause is, and in hope one day that this cause will be resolved fairly and truly as soon as possible. So any questions about this piece? في حدا عنده سؤال عن العمل هذا؟ Yes.
How did you sort the villages or the regions alphabetically, chronologically?
No, it's according to a region. Palestine is divided to, I cannot remember exactly how many regions, but each region has its villages and towns, starting from the north down to the south. So, and it was according to Salman Abu Sitta research, and he did an encyclopedia about Palestine, including everything, including the geography, including the population, and how did the villages, made their life, how did they live, how did they do all this, how did they survive. So it's a full encyclopedia about the villages and towns. Especially in 1948, the major catastrophe what happened is when they invaded basically Haifa and Jaffa and all the shore cities, and Gaza and all the shore cities. So because they were the main cities that they held everything, the culture and the finance and everything. Opposing to what the Zionist movement have said, that they came to a land with no people for no land. This is a big lie. Yet they are actually trying to sell it for the world, even these days. So did I answer your question? Sure. Okay. The glass book, as we said, I started that in 2000 and really early. It was 2002 maybe, I can't remember. Yeah, but it took me a while to gather all the names and all that. So. Okay. Go here. Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. I go. Okay. So I was really aware when I was a little girl that this spiky yet very nice green cactus that surrounded my village, and then I was eating the fruit. I was every day going with my dad at this time of the year, picking the prickly pear cactus, and we actually clean it in the field and eat it, and it was really sweet for me as a child. But when I grew up a little, older, I learned more and more that this is the location of the villages and towns, that you see ruins. You started to discover the ruins of the villages. طبعا وأنا أمشي وأنا طفلة مع أبوي كنت أطلع كل يوم أنقي الصبر وأعطي طبعا أساعد أبوي كيف ينقي الصبرات ونمرمغهم بالأرض بالتراب مع العلاق ونقشرهم. أنا أخذ الكوز الصبر وأكله. كان إشي رائع جميل يعني، وإشي ترك فيه أثر كتير حلو، لأنه والدي أول شيء حنون وبحب الطبيعة وكان يحدثني عن كتير شغلات، وهذا المحل الوحيد اللي كان الوالد يحكيني عن النكبة، لأنه الوالد عاش النكبة وعاصر النكبة وحارب فيها، بس ما قدر يحكي عن التراوما اللي أو النكبة، الصدمة الشخصية اللي صابت كل الشعب الفلسطيني. بس المحل الوحيد هو وين كنا نطلع وناكل الصبر وننقي الصبر وأرجين القرى ونحكي ويتحسر ويحكي ويبكي وينكت معي، فهذا ترك فيه أثر كتير حلو. I'm talking about my dad, as I said before, and then I discovered that the ruins of the villages, as traveling around, and my dad and my mom pointing me at this village and that village, and their memory in this place and their memory in that place, and how he was a child. He was traveling around to work and to deliver some work. He was a goldsmith artist with his dad. He started very early. والدي كان صايغ في الذهب، وكان دائما يتنقل بين القرى ويروح ويجي يعني مع أبوه يعني وبتعرفي، بس كان دائما يرجين القرى المهجرة والقرى اللي صار فيها طبعا النكبة، وما كانش يقدر يحكي لأنه كانت النكبة بالنسبة له كتير كبيرة. فكان بالوقت هذا لما إحنا بالطبيعة يسترسل ويصير يحكي، وحتى وإحنا مسافرين يتحسر ويرجين المواقع وهيك. فالصبر يعني أنا since that time I really when I understood and comprehended the massive catastrophe what happened to our nation and to me in person and to my dad and to my family and to my grandmother, I came to understand that I have to express that truly. So I adopted the cactus as a plant. And when I was 17, 18, I finished my high school. I wanted to go to university. لما خلصت طبعا الثانوية وطلعت على الجامعة، سكنت في حيفا. حيفا فيها حي وادي الصليب. وادي الصليب عمليا هو واحد من أحياء حيفا اللي تهجرت، وفيها كمان حي اسمه الحليصة. فأنا كنت أدرس طلاب وأطلع معهم على الطبيعة عشان أعطيهم الحب هذا اللي أنا أخذته من والدي أنقله لإلهم. when I was a student, first day of my first year of my university studies, I used to teach art, as to pay my studies. I used to go to Haifa because I said the Haifa University. I used to climb the mountains with my students to pick up cactus as well. I wanted to pass on the cactus legacy from my dad to the new generation. So I started, of course, exposing them to the ruins and to what happened to our villages. And since then, I discovered the cactus fibers. Cactus fibers really became my tool, my material, my medium to collect the ruins and the fragmentation of the villages and towns. So this is where I started. Okay, so those are the dried cactus fibers where I collected them everywhere from different locations to bind them, to bring them together, to bring our shattered villages and towns and bring them into a nice form of art. This is, for example, Haifa balconies. I named that. This is from an early piece. I call it Haifa balconies because I used to walk around Haifa to see the empty houses, the empty, beautiful architecture, beautiful landscape around, and to find it empty, because we are not even allowed to get closer to the villages and towns and to the houses. هذه سميتها شرفات حيفا. شرفات حيفا عمليا لأنه كنت أمشي بين بيوت حيفا ووادي النسناس وادي الصليب والحليصة، وأشوف البيوت الجميلة هذه اللي فيها عمليا فن معماري رائع، بس هي عمليا مسكرة ومحطوطة على جنب، يعني ما حد بيقدر يدخلها ومسكرة في البلوكات. الألياف الصبار عمليا طبعا أنا أخذت هذا عمل متأخر أكثر، صار هو عمليا زي خامتي الأساسية اللي أنا بشتغل فيها، لأنه يعني بدون ما بأخذ ألوان صرت أخذ الصبر وأشتغل فيه وأطبه وأجيبه مع بعض، يعني أشتغل فيه. هذه جزء من أعمالي اللي بالبداية اللي كانت الصبر، يعني عملياً عشان أجمع أشلاء فلسطين. طبعاً هي مقطبة. هون كمان عمل اللي تعاملت معاه بكتير طرق للصبر، يعني أخذته كخامة للرسم، أخذته كخامة للتعامل شو بيقولوا له ثنائي الأبعاد، فتعاملت معه بكتير طرق. This is the piece here. So cactus has become my main medium to express myself. So I gathered pieces and fragmentations and started binding together to bring it into a beautiful form, meaningful, beautiful form of art. So those are some of my cactus pieces, the early ones. This is like a pendant. It's like the time. It's actually this piece is a stable piece on the wall, but this is like the tictus, like the ticking of the clock. Do you remember the old beautiful clocks in the old houses, in the beautiful really bourgeoisie houses? And at the same time, for me, cactus is the substance, is the concept, is the medium. So here the time gaining of the occupation. And here as well, the same time, this is basically summarizes what I was doing here in this piece. So this is the time gaining, this is the game of time that Israel is doing to occupy yet more territories in Palestine. Close up. This is a self-portrait. So this piece, where I started to gather as well, it's actually similar to what I'm exhibiting here. That was really maybe 20 years ago when I started, because here I wanted to gather the fragmentation, but yet there is so much incoherency. في عمليا يعني أنا اللي حاولت أجمعه هون أشلاء الصبر بس بشكل الموبايل هذا اللي بحطوه فوق خوتة الأطفال، بس بنفس الوقت كمان ما فيه ترابط زي الأماكن اللي إحنا بنعيشها، الأماكن اللي عملياً القرى والمدن والحواجز والجدران. So that was about 20 years ago, and here this is a complete exhibition with the maps. So this is a big difference, but yet the idea started here. This is, of course, Al-Quds. Al-Quds is Jerusalem, our capital, the eternal capital of Palestine. Of course, I do like the texture, and I like the colors, because I don't really interfere with my cactus fibers. I let it be natural. I don't put any preservation, because it's part of our nature. So that's why I love cactus. سلامات، كيفك؟ This piece dedicated to a martyr, a Palestinian martyr. His name is Basil al-A'raj. Basil al-A'raj is, I never met Basil, but many people met him and they went ahead to his tours in Palestine. So my dedication to Basil, because he was one of the most amazing young men. He held all his memory with the history of Palestine, and he was walking Palestine. He was giving all this love that he holds in his memory to the new generation. He was walking and talking, and he was a walking encyclopedia. So he was assassinated by Israel. As simple as that, just because he knew what Palestine is. He knew how to educate the new generation, how to love Palestine, how to hold this beauty of Palestine and the landscape and the memory and the history and everything that has to do with Palestine was pictured in one person. His name is Basil Al-A'raj. That's why I collected many pieces from different locations and I bind it together and I wrote his name. And as a tribute, I gave it to his family because he was 20, how old was Basil? I think 27. He was as young as you guys, and I really admire this soul. He was killed and he was assassinated because of his knowledge, because of his love for Palestine. He didn't resist with any weapon. He resisted with his memory, with his love for Palestine. So that's why a dedication for him and for other martyrs I did. But for example, I brought that because of the history of Palestine and talking about nature and talking about the shrinking of our land. Okay. اوكي. طبعا حكيت انا يعني اكيد فهمتوا علي بالعربي بالانجليزي يعني ما فيش حاجه اعيد So here I want to tell you a little bit about my cactus pieces, my conceptual cactus pieces. بدي اتحدث شوي عن اعمال الصبار اللي هي عمليا اعمال what's going on? Okay. They are mixed cactus pieces. But I'm going to start, like it's not in a chronological order, but I'm going to go through them and show you a major kind of pieces only with cactus. Maybe. I want to start here. هذا أول عمل لإلي أنا سويته بالصبر. This is my first piece I did in cactus as a concept, as a medium, and as a form of expression. The title of this piece is Homage to Palestine. هذا عمليا تكريم لفلسطين. هذا العمل سويته 1999 1999. This was my very first piece when I started to talk about concept and the idea of the cactus and to conceptualize the cactus. I dealt with the form of the texture and the meaning, but yet there is much more for the cactus to talk about. بلشت أول شيء في الألياف الصبار وجمعتها وقطبتها وجبتها مع بعض وأعطيتها البعد الفني والجمالي، بس بقي علي إنه كمان بال99 بلشت أشتغل كعمل فني إنشائي، عمل فني مضموني اللي بيختزل أو بيختزل كل شيء بقدر أحكي عن صبرنا إحنا كفلسطينيين في الداخل. That was the feeling in '99, how I felt about living in Palestine in the north, and feeling the stress and the pressure. This is a pressure jar that the cactus is inside, and it's about to explode. This is a ticking bomb. Because cactus in Arabic, it means to be patient. As-sabbar, sabr. And this is how much of patience I wanted to pickle the cactus to hold into what left of my patience at that time. And you can imagine from '99 up till now, how many years has passed, marhaba, how many years has passed, and the patience is still preserved in the jar. So this is Homage to Palestine. Any questions about this piece? Any questions? Okay. I'm going to go to another piece. Okay. Okay. This piece is a very, very special piece for me. Lifta is yet another village, small village around Jerusalem, but was depopulated, but wasn't bombed, wasn't bombed from the air as other places, or wasn't demolished because of its beauty. The beauty saved Lifta from being demolished and demolished. But for sure, it was depopulated, and there was a massacre in this village. طبعا هذا العمل أنا كتير بحبه لأنه من لفتا، وأنا ماشي في حارات لفتا وبيوتها الجميلة، بس لقيت هذا العمل موجود. أنا بس صورته، ما عملتش ولا إشي لن نتخلى. يعني اللوح الصبر بحكي، ما كان عندي إلا أصوره وأتركه في المكان، لأنه هذا لهناك هو تابع يعني. فطبعا قضية لفتا الكل بيعرفها وغنية عن التعريف، بديش أوسع كتير لأنه طبعا جرح نازف وبعده موجود، ويعني لفتا قضية كبيرة. This piece I found actually between the houses in Lifta, where people carved will never forgive or forget or نتخلى or give up. Will never give up, forgive or forget. It's all these meanings, but it's in one piece. You know, the cactus is still remaining there as the omnipresent of the presence of Palestinian villages. Many people are, you know, were relocated from Lifta after the massacre to now they ended up in Jerusalem, living in the Jerusalem area. And yet, Jordan, many are in Jordan. They were exiled in 1948 as well. Any questions? Okay, well, the cactus is also for me became like not only the omnipresence of the villages, became like I started humanizing the cactus. This piece is Hana al-Shalabi, one of the prisoners who actually was on hunger. She was on hunger strike for 32 days, and as a prisoner, she to resist the prison, to resist the occupation, she was on 32 days of occupation of hunger strike. So I carved her face on the cactus to show how much of resistance she holds inside, how much of love for Palestine and for the resistance. That's why I dedicated that for her. And usually I use it as a form of resistance on social media as well. This is part of my promotion to the Palestinian cause and the prisoners, which is a very important cause. We have only about 7,000 Palestinian prisoners nowadays in Israeli prisons, living in inhuman conditions, with no health care, with no health. There is a big scandal about how our prisoners are living in Israeli prisons. Just 2 days ago, As-Sayih, one of the prisoners who was left to die in prison, and there are about 220 prisoners who died in prison because of the vicious occupation. This is also Samer al-Isawi, yet he was on hunger strike for over 237 days. طبعا سامر العساوي اللي أنا كمان حفرت وجهه على الصبر وأعطيت يعني كأنه يعني عمليا أساعد على وقف يعني عشان ندعمه دعم معنوي ودعم كمان نحرك الشارع الفلسطيني. أنا بكل ما بطلع هاي اللوحة بشوف ليسوع، يعني ليسوع المسيح، ما بعرف ليش، لأنه كمان الشوك وكمان النظرة تبعته كمان هاي الشغلات. This piece is dedicated to Samer al-Isawi. He was on hunger strike for 237 days, and yet he is back in prison. So you can imagine the suffering and the humiliation and the inhumanity that actually keeps them. They keep treating our prisoners with. This is a playground. هذا حديقة الألعاب للأطفال لفلسطين. That's the reason I brought that, because of the cactus, the presence, because the cactus has become my tool and my language and my form of expression. So this is playground for children, of course, because our children are not living there their childhood, basically. This is close up. As we know, this is a very well-known symbol, recycling. But in our case, we are recycling the patience, because since cactus is to be patient in Arabic, sabr. So here we are recycling the patience. We are holding to the patience and trying to recycle it up till God knows when. طبعا تدوير الصبر يعني كتير. I like the idea of working on a simple but yet complicated, this bittersweet, or you know. This is one of my early pieces. هاي سميتها حلوتي، يعني الصبر مع الشوكولاتة، مغطوطة بالشوكولاتة. This is a sweetie. It's titled Sweetie, and it's half dipped in chocolate. And this is really, after the cactus jar, I decided to do something more sweet, because after the patience you want some nutrition, but yet you cannot eat it. You know, and the cactus here, in the chocolate here in this case, it shows how much of a sweet of a homeland we are living, but we cannot enjoy it. You cannot get the sweetness. The beauty of our homeland, we have the mountains, we have the sea, we have the desert, we have everything in this land, but we cannot enjoy it. So this is Sweetie. Okay, this piece is The Scream of the Wadi. This piece was done in 92, 93 in Haifa. I was living in Haifa while I was studying there, and I remember this house. This is in Wadi Nesnas, yet another neighborhood in Haifa. That it's a beautiful landscape, beautiful architecture, beautiful houses, beautiful neighborhoods. A lot of people are living together in harmonic life, but yet the occupation came and shattered everything. I used to know this house with a beautiful everything, you know, about, you know, like Palestinian house that holds so much love. One day I came back and I found this house torn down. And I cried my eyes off, because I used to have friends in this house. I used to have memories in this house. What left of this house is rubbles. I decided to take out the rubbles from the house, the tiles. أخذت شو بيقولوا البلاط. شكرا حبيبتي. أخذت البلاط من قلب الهدم، وأخذت حتى فيه طنجرة، غطا طنجرة. Those are the tiles. I decided, did I speak in English at the beginning? Not yet. Okay, I will improvise on that. أخذت البلاط وأخذت إيش لقيت بالهدم، أخذته وعلقته على الحيط عشان أعمل أدمج بينه وبين الصبر. رحت جبت 100 لوح صبر وعلقته على الجدار، على الحيط هذا اللي بقي واقف من الهدم تبع البيت هذا. Of course, this was like 100. This was in Wadi Nesnas in Haifa. I used to know this house. It's a beautiful, beautiful house by all means. I came back one day and I found it on the ground, torn apart. So I decided, as a scream, as a form of resistance, to say my words, you know, with cactus, because cactus is the right form of resistance. So I hung around 100 pieces of cactus on all what remained of the house, and I collected the remnants of the house from tiles and pots and anything that I found, and I actually stuck it into the wall. And I decided to make an installation piece, like in the street, in the neighborhood. And guess what? The people who were living there around and in the neighborhood, there was a falafel place. Everybody came and everybody started talking about their pain and their suffering and their memory in this house. And so I brought the art to the street, to the people, to the neighborhood, and I actually generated a dialogue between me and them, and me and the house and the neighborhood, and everybody started telling their stories, their pain and suffering, and how much the Israelis are trying to push them out of this neighborhood. So even the children wanted to carry the cactus and hang it with me. They want to dig with me in the rubbles. So there was an amazing feeling for me to bring all these people to talk about such atrocity. It's a war crime. House demolishing is a war crime. These days, you find it a massacre of houses. You know, just a month ago, they demolished like about 100 units, living units in Palestine. So, and guess what? After a month, what I found, a few months, gave me fruit. It was an amazing result when I came back to see of course, the layers of the walls, the inner walls with the paint. They started actually interacting with the cactus and all this. So this was the answer for me. The scream has become the fruit and the return, and this is the answer. هذا عمليا بعد كم شهر رجعت لقيت الصبارات مطلعات الفواكه، طبعات الصبارات، وعاملين لي معطيني الجواب يعني الثمرة بالضبط. وهذا عمليا لنفس المكان. هذا العمل سميته التكتوس، يعني تك تك تك، ساعة الرمل عمليا. ساعة الرمل انت بتقيس فيها البيضة، بتسلق فيها البيضة، الوقت، الكل عامل الوقت، بس بنفس الوقت الصبرة ما بتقدر تقلبها لأنها مش بتشوكك. فهذا عمليا طرح سؤال لوينت يعني till when this patience we can hold the patience. يعني الاشي كمان مضموني، الاشي يعني مشاعرك انت موجوده في هذا المكان، في هذا يعني لو انت الصبر، لو انت هذا برضو يعني عمل فني اللي سويته للأسرى. I always do a lot of work especially for prisoners to support them in social media and to bring their issue into a higher level, not only in the news, because the news is not doing enough for our prisoners. So for me, I do a lot of work to give the meaning and the true meaning of being in an Israeli prison. So here you see the cactus is growing despite all the barbed wire. هذا طبعا المقاومة من قلب الحصار، من قلب الأسلاك الشائكة، من قلب الظلم والقهر. طبعا يعني ثلاث طبقات صبر طالعة، ويعني طالعة بصمود وبشموخ يعني. هذا العمل, this piece I did when I was with another colleague, few friends. We were sitting next to a prisoner who was finally taken to an Israeli hospital, and we actually remained next to him. His name is Muhammad Al-Qiq. He was almost 2.5 months on hunger strike. He refused any medication, and a few times he fainted. We were next to him. I myself was 1.5 months. What I saw from this experience, sitting next to him with my colleagues, with my friends, it was horrendous. Because he lost so much weight, we were like about to lose him. Many times we were about to lose him, but we were very skeptical, very, very aware of what has been happening. So for me, the last call was this piece, because he was crucified. He was truly crucified, because his hands were shackled in the bed. He cannot move. He's only a skeleton sitting in the bed. And he was like my brother, really. He was very, very much in touch with the people around him. But he was saying, one day he said, don't betray me. Please, don't leave me alone, because I'm really in about to just leave this life. So this was my feeling, that he was crucified. Finally, we saved his life, because that night he had a breakdown. That's it. He lost it, and finally we got the video out. Of course, we helped him. There was only one doctor from our Palestinian side, so we saved his life by distributing a video. He was actually about to die. So that video saved his life. When I got home a few days later and he was released, I did this piece because I felt the risk. I felt that he is crucified really in the hands of the occupier. So, yeah, and his legs are shackled and hands are shackled in the bed. So he basically was about to die. طبعاً,
How were you allowed to be next to him?
that was a big fight. He was in Afuli hospital. We were sneaking every day, and we were like actually searched to get into his room. Finally, we got a permission to stay. There was only one person who was allowed. We were actually doing shifts. Me and my 3 or 4 close friends. So we were allowed on a very, very bad, يعني very special conditions. You are not allowed to have anything with you, only by yourself. You will be searched in and out to come in and stay with him. They even withdrew any mattress that you can stay with him. He was...
How did you take the video?
One of our friends, he actually sneaked his phone. It was a big fight. Many people were arrested because we were demonstrating outside as well, and we actually 5 people were around him close to his bed. So it was a big fight. That was a very interesting experience for me to see this man, how he's fighting for his life, for his freedom. Yeah. This is also, as you know, the game of X and O, XO, and I play it. يعني هذه لعبة الXO طبعا مع الصبر these are like شو بيقولوا لهم الدبابيس مسامير يعني these are like pins, yeah, push pins. Yeah. So this also was the big hunger strike. This is how prisoners are counting the days, and how come that I cannot count it on something that means patience. They are the kings and the queens of patience. That's why they mark 4 marks, and then they make, this is 5 days. This was the 40 days hunger strike, and finally on the day of 41 they stopped the hunger strike. هذا كان ضرب ال40 يوم متذكرين معه. It was May 27th when they stopped their hunger strike. Okay, this is like a cactus fruit, but here this is the bullet, the rubber bullet. So this piece is dedicated to my childhood. As a child, when I was maybe in kindergarten. Of course, we have in Galilee, the occupation is, of course, it's still there. The martial laws are still there, applies and stuff like that. So they used to take us as children to the closest police station. كانوا ياخدونا إحنا وأطفال بدون ما يسألوا أهلنا طبعاً, without any advising with our parents. They used to take us to the closest police station and to let us carry the Israeli flags and wave for their freedom, for their independence. And just imagine how much of an abuse you can hold in, as a child, to know that you were carrying the Israeli flag, the occupier's flag. تخيل يعني انت حامل علم الاحتلال وعم بتلولح فيه وبتغني، يعني بيعلموك انت كطفل انك تحمل، يعني انت بياخذوك من اهلك طبعا وانت مش عارف شو وين ماخذينك. 4-5 سنين انت شو بفهمك. فهذا كان عمليا الصبر كبالون، البالون اللي انا حاملته كطفله بدل العلم، على اساس ارجع احترامي انا كطفله. يعني that's actually a tribute to my dignity as a child, holding a balloon, but a balloon with cactus, because it's aching my memory as a child. Here it's written الصبار يستطيع التحليق cactus can fly or could fly. This was another piece about the hunger strikers, where their heartbeat is about to become really straight. That was also another prisoner. It was about 1,800 prisoners on hunger strike at one time. This was in 2014 with the Gaza war. هذا كان وقت حرب غزة، وقت ما كانت الحرب عن جد يعني اشتدت، وأنا ما عرفتش إيش أنا أحكي، إيش أعبر عن حرب غزة. فيعني صارت الفرشاة تبعتي عمليا يعني ما عندها تعبير، فحطيت هو عمليا زي كأنه الباليت تبعت الرسم. This was like my art palette, but it's empty. It's 2014. There was a war in Gaza, so I felt desperate. I felt, you know, there is no more expressions to express. So this is like the art palette that I cannot even hold. There is no colors left for me. There is no expression left for me to express what happened in Gaza. The atrocities and the war crimes and the house demolishing and the bombing on Gaza. So that was after the aftermath of the war on Gaza. It was a real bloodshed. هذا بعد عدة أسابيع من الحرب اللي عمليا تعبيري أنا في واسطة الصبر، كيف عمليا الدم صار عن جد للركب يعني. طبعا نرجع لهذا الصبر المخلل الأول إشي بلشت فيه. This was also هذا كمان, this was another piece that I did. I carved the one I showed you, the green one that dried out, but it still have the hope growing up, يعني growing from the side. هذا كان عمليا سامر العساوي لما طبعا نشف، بس عمليا طلع الأمل يعني. شوي بعلق هذا ولا؟ اوكي. هسه بكبرها. أنا رح أحاول أختم هون لأنه بديش أطول. قديش بعد عندي وقت؟ عندنا وقت؟ عندي وقت. Okay. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about the land, about the prohibition of picking up olives and picking up the native plants, because it's all connected. What I'm going to show you here, we're going to get into the room and I'm going to show you what happened on the ground, because 71 years of occupation and prohibition and time gaining, it all comes not only for يعني at once. It's a process. It's a time. It's the whole concept of ethnic cleansing that they have designed and now they are applying. They are at the end of their process. So meanwhile, I'm resisting through my art and through the beauty of the land and the meaning and the taste and the aroma of the land and the homeland. This piece, I traveled to South Africa to learn about the cause there as well. Of course, South Africa, apartheid, prohibition, separation, segregation, all that. I traveled there and I learned firsthand what has been happening. But guess what? I found it a piece of cake to what's happening here. It was a real piece of cake. Because of course it's a war crime as well there, but yet I was always comparing to what has been happening here. So أنا طبعاً لما سافرت على جنوب أفريقيا وحاولت أشوف وأقارن بين الأشياء اللي كانت بجنوب أفريقيا واللي إحنا بنعيشه يومياً، كل الحرمان وسرقة الأرض والتطهير العرقي وكل الشغلات هذه. فواحدة من الأشياء اللي أنا بعملها من وقت حصار غزة من 2000 قبل 12-13 سنة، هو عملياً إنه بعمل إشي زي المناولة بالزيت والزعتر. المناولة عملياً هي مناولة بالكنيسة بتعطيك دم وجسد المسيح، فأنا حولتها لمناولة وطنية اللي هي عملياً بتعطيك بتاخد إيش أهم شيء في فلسطين، هو عملياً الزيتون والزيت، والزعتر اللي عم بحرمونا اصلا ناكله وننقيه ونتمتع فيه، لانه عمليا الاكل الوطني، هي الاكل الشعبيه في الزعتر. يعني البيت حسب ابراهيم ابو اللغد، البيت اللي فيش فيه زعتر الله يرحمه يعني ما هو مش بيت فلسطيني. فالزعتر شيء اهم وشيء ماده اساسيه او اكله شعبيه اساسيه في كل بيت فلسطيني. وطبعا فعشان هيك من وقت حصار غزة من 12 سنة وأنا بعمل زي كأنه مناولة روحانية في الزيت والزعتر، عشان أشرح كمان للناس برا إيش عم بيصير بفلسطين. مش بس تطهير الأرض، مش بس سرقة الأرض، منعنا في جمع الزيتون، بحرقوا الزيتون وبيقطعوا الزيتون وبيمنعونا ننقي الزعتر. كل هاي العوامل عشان يمنعونا يبعدونا عن الأرض طبعا. Here I'm going to show you a video when I was in South Africa with Bishop Desmond Tutu. I was giving him, I'm not sure what is your background as religious, but we know that there is a communion in the church. You remember the communion with the wine and the bread? So I actually took the idea of the communion to give people my food, and to give them the aroma and the taste of food of Palestine, the aroma and the dignity of Palestinian people. So I started giving food from olive oil and za'atar. Za'atar, you know what za'atar is, yeah? So to explain the situation in Palestine about ethnic cleansing, about Gaza, the siege of Gaza since 13 years. So I do it a simple move to educate people about that, because ethnic cleansing is not only grabbing the land and also stealing the water, banning us from picking our olives, banning us from picking our native plants. So here I actually summarize it and sum it up in a performance piece.
I would like to do this simple, very important, simple. This is the cactus fibers. The cactus is very basic in our history in Palestine, and you know that during the 1948 war, 531 villages were being demolished and destroyed, and the people were exiled. So the cactus grew around our days, so they were fencing villages to protect from animals and diseases. So the cactus remained the only present of the Palestinian villages these days. Wherever you see the cactus growing, this is the remnants of Palestinian village, and then you remember that. So this is the cactus fibers from these villages, and the name of Palestine, for hoping for freedom and praying for freedom. And at the same time, since we have been going on for not so long, the people have been abused, and the land has been also abused. Since we are an agrarian society, and we have been eating from the land, the olive oil, holy olive oil, Palestine, and the thyme that we pick. Nowadays we are being banned from picking this national grass, and it's very simple. It's my mom's homemade, and it's lime, olive oil, and sesame and sumac. So this is our main food. In the morning we eat to have good memory as well. So we just simply, let me offer you something. We dip it in olive oil, we dip it with za'atar, and then it's my honor to offer you this. It's the taste of Palestine and the dignity of Palestinian people. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was. Okay. The reason I can also, that's why I actually contain a lot of components from the land, from the memory and all that, to bring it and sum it up in an installation or a performance to get the people, because you might not know about the za'atar or the idea and the meaning of the za'atar and zayt and the atrocities that has been committed against our land and the stealing of water. So that could say it all. This piece was done in one of the areas where the wall actually is cutting now. And there is already a gate that's going to close the street where I live. And I used to have really many groups coming to the area to pray, okay? to pray for peace and for justice. But at the same time, nothing has been happening. But I still do it. I still offer the food because I also talk about the starvation policy of Gaza and the siege. So I say a word before giving the food. I say in times of siege and segregation, I give you food. And it's a simple act of any human that gives you food, you know. It's simple, but yet it means a lot. The Kremizan, That was also in Paris. About the olive كمان الزيتون عمليا هو الزيتون طبعا عشان يحاولوا ينسونا الأرض وينسونا من وين اجينا وينسونا قطف الزيتون بيحرقوا الزيتون وبيجوا المستوطنين وبيعملوا اللي بيعملوه في الأرض وعشان هيك حاولت أعمل الصبرة أحولها لزيتونة الزيتونة حولتها لصبرة It's a form of resistance from the olive to become a spiky cactus, you know. I turned the olive into cactus, so. So I think it's enough here. Any questions? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try and sum up some stuff here. Every year كل سنة إحنا بنعمل مسيرات العودة على القرى المهجرة وكل سنة بناخد قرية معينة بنروح عليها وبصير مسيرة عودة للمكان وبيكون عمليا كتير آلاف من الناس. كل الناس بتحاول تجيب حتى أكلها وتاكل في الأرض يعني عشان كمان تثبت وجودها هناك. فهذه المسيرات عمليا كمان أنا أخذت فيها يعني شوفوا عمليا الطبيعة الفلسطينية شو عم تتحول. شايفين شجر السرو كيف كيف غزا بأرضنا وغزا زيتوننا وغزا كل المشهد الفلسطيني عمليا الصبر والصنوبر اللي هو عمليا خرب طبيعة الفلسطين وخرب حامضية وقاعدية الأرض فبطل ينبت فيها النباتات الأصلية. واحدة من الأشياء اللي هي عمليا اللي خربت الأرض وغطت مثلا الصنوبر لما بينزل الورق تبعه بغطي الأرض بعدش فيه تصله الشمس كيف لازم. فعشان هيك هاي واحدة من هذا المشهد أنا مصورته عشان أرجع الشباب والصبايا راجعين مع الإعلام بس بنفس الأرض. هاي الكابري عمليا قرية من القرى الشمال لحد قرية ترشيحة يعني. فهاي عمليا المشهد شوفوا السرو كيف مخرب الدنيا مخرب المشهد يعني. فأنا قررت على الثروات هدول عندي رسائل من أهالينا اللاجئين في المهجر بتواصل معهم في عنا تواصل دائم بيبعثوا لنا رسائل شوق وحب عمليا ولا هناك سوى هنا من محمود درويش وبوقعوا تحت مخيم برج البراجني في لبنان وبرضه سلاش السويد لأنه اللجوء هذا اللجوء. عمليا الرسائل هاي كانت بالنسبة لي كتير مهمة إنه أعلقها للناس وهن ماشيين في المسيرة تبعتهم ورايحين على القرية المهجرة يقرأوا هاي الرسائل لأنه هاي عمليا رسائل الحب والشوق والحنين للعودة. طبعا هذه كمان يعني كمان رسائل مخيم حمص للعائدين في سوريا أنا بتواصل معهم دائما في كل المناسبات. فهذا كتير مهم لنا التواصل ونخلي قصة العودة يعني حية بيناتنا. This piece we always commemorate the Nakba in 1948 in May 15th when they celebrate their independence. So as you can see the trees here they are invading our land beside their their settlements. These are not native to our homeland, to our nature, to the beautiful landscape of Palestine. So these are like the National Jewish Fund plants that they ask people to buy a tree under their name and they plant it in the beautiful land of Israel, okay? So what we ended up with those humongous trees. The opposite is the olive trees, the beautiful landscape with beautiful olive trees. So here in this march of return, I always correspond with the people, the refugees in Lebanon, in Syria, in exile, everywhere, and they send me letters of, you know, longing to go back home, to their return and to their homeland. So what I did, I decided to print them on canvas and hang them on this as a counterpunch to this occupation. So those are even some pictures. This is not mine, but some other people corresponded with the people in the refugee camps, and they sent their pictures from this village that they ended up in a refugee camp. As you can see, this is the March of Return, a small part of the March of Return, but you can see the return with the Palestinian flag and those trees that they are not native. And the National Jewish Fund asks you to pay $100 to plant a tree. And now it's part of the occupation. It's part of what has been happening since day one. They conquered the land with the trees, and then they cut it and built settlements. And this is part of the ethnic cleansing what we are seeing inside my installation. Okay, this is Haifa, and you can see the pure ethnic cleansing and the invasion of the architecture, the modern architecture, comparing to the beauty of the Arabic architecture. As you can see, this is the mosque. Of course, I took the photo in a way that it looks, you know, crooked, but at the same time, I wanted because it's the original place there, and this is like a parasite in the space in this location. It's in Haifa. Yeah.
Which area?
It's in Wadi Salib. Wadi Salib, downtown. This is where all the governmental buildings now. Okay, this is part of Haifa, the old buildings that has been closed, but nowadays they are actually selling it to the private sector. اليوم حيفا عم تتطهر عرقيا، وادي الصليب عم بتطهر عرقيا، حطوه على شو بيقولوا لائحة المباني التراث، بس عم بيبيعوه للبرايفت سيكتور، عم بيبيعوه للناس عشان ينزلوا المسؤولية القانونية عنهم، لأنه الدولة عمليا الكيان الصهيوني عشان يخلص من المسؤولية القانونية عم بيبيعوا للأفراد. فعمليا هاي العمارات يعني عم بياخدوها بيخلوا الوجه الخارجي، بس من جوا عم بيقلبوها تماما، عم بيشتروها مستثمرين يهود اللي هن عم بيطهروها عرقيا، وهذا رح يصير حي فنانين يعني، او حي البزنس تبع حيفا. طبعا as you can see here, the buildings in Haifa are nowadays in Wadi Salib. It's a huge area. Where houses are really still closed, as you see, with blocks, and nobody can have access to them. And now they are selling it to the private sector to get rid of the legal responsibility as a Jewish national entity. So now we can see all these houses are refurbished, and the facade is still the same, but they are renovating from inside, and they are sold to the Jewish millionaires. And this is pure ethnic cleansing. Of course, the reason I'm bringing all that, this is what I have been talking about in real life, and this is in maps, where I actually gathered all the maps from the West Bank and from historic Palestine. As you can see, this is the real deal on the ground. This is what has been happening day to day since 71 years. So as you can see, the beauty, I always was walking around and trying to talk to the people. People are living there in poorly. The Palestinians who lived there, or actually took some of the houses to live in, scattered in, how do you call it? Squatted into the houses. They are now evicted from the houses. the whole neighborhood now is a total different neighborhood. This is the house of the mayor of Haifa, that he was also kicked out of Haifa. His grandson happened to be still in Haifa. There was an auction about the houses. So one of the lawyers who I know, he bought the house in order to save it from the Jewish hands. So he came to the grandson, he said, you know what, I want to sell it to you. If you have the money, or if you have half of the money, I'm ready to give it back to you, because this is your grandfather's house. So unfortunately, he couldn't buy the house, but he said, anytime you want to come to the house, you're welcome, and it's your house. So this is a story of the mayor of Haifa prior to 48. You can see the new buildings coming. It's like, it makes no sense. It doesn't belong to that. This is the inner part, the inside the houses. Some houses are still left as they left in 48, as you can see. And they are all scattered in these refugee camps, all around Lebanon, Syria, all around the world. اليرموك, عين الحلوة, جرمان, الرشيدية, برج البراجنة, all these refugee camps. Thousands and millions of refugees, of course. طيب. I think.
Speak the same dialects that they had in the Shiha.
Yeah. Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about now is, and we can move into the piece, my reaction to this, you know, as a Palestinian, as a child, as an adult, as a teenager, now as an adult, is to give the hope for the new people, for the new generation. So what I did during the March of Return, what we do in every year, I did a piece of a collection of pillows. It's homeless pillows, where I took a normal pillow, any pillow, wherever you feel at home is where you're home, you know, anywhere. But in our case, only in our homeland, because we know the plant, we know the geography, we know the sense of our aroma, the aroma of our plants, the za'atar and zayt and akub and all that. So for me, this is a homeless pillow, and the new generation has no idea. So I wanted them to feel, to sense it, and I humanized the pillow in order for the young generation to sense it and feel it physically. So what I did, I created a series of homeless pillows. I call it named homeless pillows. And you can see the new generation coming back to the village. But here, this is another story. I will tell you all about it. Just a second. Those are the homeless pillows, but they are like a collection, many different forms and colors, and comes in a very basic fabric and a very you know, like شو بقولوا عن تقيل يعني إنه يعني no, it's like a very it's the basic fabric that they use in every house, but sometimes in a poor neighborhood or in a rich neighborhood, they are all got refugees. They became refugees. So this is a collection of the pillows. But here I wanted to dedicate that to the refugees around the world. So I carried my pillows over my shoulder, because this pillow has nowhere to go. So I'm carrying my home, and I'm sleeping while I'm standing. It has a head and a neck, and it sleeps on my shoulder, or it sleeps on itself. This is the sign where in this forest, in these Israeli forests, where they plant the National Jewish Fund trees, and then they conquer the land. And this is exactly the tree or the bird, the symbol of the occupation. This is where all started. This is how they manipulate people. So this is a National Jewish Fund and KKL, Keren Kayemet Israel. And this is how they wherever they have the forest, they have this symbol. And this is actually the real crime here. So here I'm countering that with an organic form of a pillow that I carry over my shoulder, and I travel with it. Wherever I go, I carry it with me. And for the new generation, and you can see the new generation is coming with their family to the March of Return. And I also give it to the people to march with it. أعطيتها للناس يمشوا فيها في مسيرات العودة. فهيك بحس الواحد في إشي على جسمه، يعني إنه أنت راجع على بلدك عشان تنام بهاي المخدة في البلد يعني. This was in one of the great March of Returns in the north. This was on the Lebanese border as well, where هذا كان وقت مسيرات العودة من لبنان، وكانوا عم بيمشوا من الحدود اللبنانية على فلسطين. فأنا أخذت المخدة وطلعت على الحدود، كانت طبعاً منطقة عسكرية مسكرة، فوقفت على الحدود وحاولت أخذ هاي الصورة عشان كمان أبعثها للاجئين في سوريا بلبنان. This was on the Lebanese border when was maybe 5 years ago there was another March of Return back home, and many young men and women were shot and killed. So I was on the border there, and I was carrying my homeless pillow to send a message for them, you know, because of course they haven't seen me on the border, but it's an act of, you know, a conceptual act. This lady, she was kicked out of her house. I'm talking about villages and houses. This is in Sheikh Jarrah in Jerusalem. هذه الصبية شريهان الحنون اللي عمليا أخلوهم من بيتهم من الشيخ جراح، هي وأهلها. فهذه واحدة من المخدات اللاجئين اللي أنا كنت عملتها لإلي، يعني يومياتي، بس حسيت بالإشي كتير إنه قريب لإلي لأن هي صاحبتي، فأعطيتها أهديتها إياها مؤقتا على أساس كمان يعني أواسيها في هاي المحنة اللي هي فيها. This was in Sheikh Jarrah where this homeless pillow was I gave it to my friend Sharihan because she was kicked out of her house in Sheikh Jarrah. It's part of the ethnic cleansing that has been happening in Jerusalem. So this is the 3 houses here, her house and the 2 uncles, and this is the homeless pillow here thrown in the street, and this is where they ended up. You see that the scene, they cannot enter anymore, and this Yasmin has died now. They ended up under the tree for 3 months until they found a refuge. So this is her younger brother. He is speaking through their house, through the window. This was in Paris, Fête de la Humanité, in the Humanity Festival in Paris, also to raise awareness about the refugees, about ethnic cleansing of Palestine. And I interacted very much with the people in the festival. Yeah. Okay. 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 This is finally, I want to show you, of course, you know this map. My work here is made out of, because of a long research since over 15 years. I have been following the maps, following the statistics about refugees, about the numbers of refugees wherever they are. And of course, the statistics are really very depressing. Nowadays, we ended up with crumbs, really cantons of territories. يعني طبعا الكانتونات اللي تركوها معنا بعد أوسلو، طبعا بعد النكبة وما جرى بعد أوسلو، والفتات اللي تركوا لنا اياه عمليا واضح، فيش حاجه اشرح اكثر من هيك. طبعا هذا من this is the map of بديل, maximum land with minimum Palestinians, the ongoing Nakba since 1917. but I think it's enough. What I have done, you know, like overview, how I started as a child, and what I see, what I witnessed, and how I chose my mediums, my concepts, and my ideas. So cactus is my main idea, my main medium to express myself. So let's move inside for a few minutes, and then this room is really dedicated to the you know, what has been happening these days. What is my feeling today when I cross checkpoints, when I go up from Galilee to the south to the West Bank? So all this complication and barriers and walls and checkpoints. إذا بتحبوا شوي إن نحكي هون دقيقة باسمة، إذا حدا عنده أسئلة. بس أنا الفكرة تعال فوت. الفكرة إنه طبعاً وجود الغرفة عملياً من فلسطين التاريخية اللي هي عملياً آلاف الكيلومترات حشرونا في كانتونات اللي هي غرفة بالآخر، المعازل بالكانتونات اللي إحنا عم نعيش فيها. صوري. طبعاً يعني العمل هذا مكون من غرفة مربعة ومطاولة ومحشورين فيها. إحنا بنشعر في ضيق لما نفوت عليها. فهذا شعوري أنا كإنساني وكإنساني. لسه أنا أهون منكم، يعني بقدر أسافر وأروح وأجي على الضفة وأطلع حواجز وأسافر، بس برضه أنا بحكي عن شعوري. أنا سكنت في الضفة ل 12 سنة 13 سنة، حسيت قديش الإشي بخنق وقديش أنا عم بعبر عن مشاعر اللي ساكنين في الداخل طبعا اللي في الضفة، وقديش الوضع مستحيل، لأنه فيش ترابط جغرافي، فيش ترابط أسري، ما عادش في ترابط أسري، ما عادش في ترابط جغرافي. فكل هاي الإحصائيات والشغلات والخرايط والهاي كلها بتبقى إحصائيات على مكاتب الأمم المتحدة، وبالآخر إيش بيعملوا فيها؟ ننقعها ونشرب ميتها. بالضبط، يعني هذا الشعور تبعي أنا. طبعا حاولت هاي الخرائط يعني مجموعة من سنة 2005 وال 2007 لحد اليوم. هذه بتأرجي المناطق كيف صارت مستحيل السكنة فيها. يعني طبعا كيف الخرائط هاي صارت على الأرض زي بقع ومستنقعات. كمان هون الصبر هو بحاكي الصبر، أو الصبر بحاكي الخرائط، وكيف إنه الإشي مشقف وكيف إنه إشي مشردم، بس إيش مربوط بعده فيه الترابط، هذا الترابط الإنساني والأسري والحميمية تبعت الشعب الفلسطيني والأسرة والحب للأرض والتشبت بالأرض. مستحيل ينسونا قضيتنا، مستحيل عمليا. عشان هيك أنا حاولت أخلي الصبرة هاي كانت خضرة، بس طبعا لازم أغيرها، بس طلعت صبرة جديدة. صحيح. فهذا الأمل ما حبيت أخلي الناس تترك مع عدم الأمل أو على شو اسمه على بيأس. عشان هيك الصبرة هي عمليا الأمل اللي رح يكون يتجدد، وأنتوا جيل جديد طبعا اللي رح تجدد الأمل دايما. عمليا كمان هذا العجل اللي بدور، I will explain it in English in a few minutes. هذا العجل اللي بدور هو عمليا لعبة كسب الوقت اللي حكيت عليها. لعبة كسب الوقت، المفاوضات والدواوين الفاضية هاي اللي احنا بنمرقها وبنحكي عليها.
حلقة مفرغة.
بالضبط. عمليا هي بتدور حول نفسها وبتاخدناش ولا محل. تفضلي. بتاخدناش ولا على محل، بس بنفس الوقت عندنا ثوابت. احنا طبعا القدس هي عمليا المركز العالم اللي هي احنا بنشوفها في وسط هاي الخريطة اللي معلقة فوق، اللي عمليا هذا جواب المجرم ترامب انه احنا القدس ما بنستغني عنها. القدس هي مركز العالم ومركز فلسطين، وهي الشيء الوحيد اللي بدورش بكل هاي الغرفة. عمليا بنشوف احنا الالياف بتدور حوالي بعضها على الخرايط وبتعمل ظلال، وهذا هي حياتنا، هذا حياة كل إنسان بعيش المأساة كل يوم في فلسطين. بس بنفس الوقت في عنا ثوابت، إحنا راسخين على الأرض. إحنا بالرغم من كل التهجير والسياسات التطهير العرقي إحنا صامدين، وعلامة على هذا هو عمليا الصبرة. بس بنفس الوقت كمان هذا الترابط هذا الموجود بين كل ألياف الصبار اللي عمليا عاملة شكل، عاملة دائرة، اللي هي الدائرة اللي هي الإشي الحنون، الإشي اللي بضمك بالآخر، اللي هو شكل أنثوي. حتى هي الأرض، هي الكرة الأرضية، هي كل إشي. وطبعا بكل زاوية بكل شقة في الخرائط، خارطة فلسطين التاريخية طبعا ما بستغني عنها اللي هي حيط كامل، وبكل شقة في عندك الخارطة التاريخية تبعت فلسطين، وبالإضافة طبعا للخرائط بتأرجي كيف طبعا صار الاستيلاء على الأرض. بس برضو إحنا لو شعب تاني صار فيه هذا الإشي زمان اندثر، بس هذا بيرجع قديش إحنا أقوياء. ألياف الصبار، كل ليفة صبر، كل ألياف صبرة من الصبارات هذول بتمثل شخص مننا. عشان هيك إحنا وحدتنا الوطنية وترابطنا هو اللي رح يحررنا. فبالرغم من كل شيء إحنا موجودين وثابتين على الأرض، وانا بالنسبه لي حطيتهم على الارض عشان ادعس عليهم يعني كمان هذا رساله انه احنا بنمشي وصامدين واحنا شامخين وما فيش حدا بزحزحنا عن ثوابتنا. وطبعا يعني بتشوفوا هون كيف الالياف بتعكس على الخرائط، لانه عمليا كله يعني كل هاي المناطق عمليا عم تتغير بتتحول، كل يوم في تغيير بالشوارع، كل يوم في تغيير بالحواجز، كل يوم عندك قوانين جديدة، بس برضو احنا ثابتين على الموضوع هذا. طبعا غزة المحاصرة المنكوبة من 13 سنة اللي عمليا ولا حدا قادر ينقذها، وغزة عم تدخل في حالة يعني ما حدش بيقدر يسكن في غزة بعد، يعني المي ملوثة، المياه الجوفية ملوثة، الحصار، الحروب اللي مرقت عليها، في أطفال خلقوا بالحرب وربيوا بالحرب، يعني ما شافوا غير الحرب. اللي عمره 13 سنة صاروا خلق بالحرب وعاش الحصار، يعني ما في يعني. عشان هيك احنا مطالبنا أساسية، احنا بدنا الأرض، بدنا فلسطين من المية للمية، شو بيقولوا ديمقراطية حرة ديمقراطية. هذا هو. إذا في أي شيء أسئلة طبعا الإحصائيات هاي الموجودة على الحيطان وكل الأشياء هاي الموجودة.
لأنه تمسكك أنت
نعم. في حدا عنده أسئلة؟
السنة اللي قدرتي تعملي مشروعات كم سنة استغرقت؟
هذا بلشت فيه بال 2016 يعني كفكرة كفكرة اللي تطورت. كنت مسميته من يشتري خارطة الطريق نحو خارطة الطريق للسلام في فلسطين.
هي تطورت إنه كان زي شيء تدريجي فإنه
نعم. لهذا طبعا
قدرتي تعملي شيء.
نعم. يعني كل سنين المفاوضات هاي اللي على الفاضي اللي أصلاً خسرتنا كتير أرض وخسرتنا كتير موارد وخسرتنا المياه والأغوار وهاي الشغلات. فعشان هيك حبيت أحطها، هي صادمة عملياً. المعلومات اللي على الحيطان هاي صادمة لأنه معلومات حقيقية هاي وإحصائيات، بس عملياً هي بالآخر بتبقى عرفوا في المؤسسات الأمم المتحدة اللي مش عم تعملنا شيء بالآخر. هذا للأسف. عشان هيك إحنا ما بحك جلدك إلا ضفرك، إحنا أصحاب الأرض، إحنا اللي أولى فيها، اللي إحنا لازم ندافع عنها بكل ما يمكن.
الصور نشفين
هو عمليا أنا باخذ الجذوع الكبيرة وبنشفها وبنظفها وبخليها
تحفريها.
هي بتكون طبقات، هي عمليا طبقات الزمن زي الشجرة، بس الصبرة تعمل طبقات الزمن تبعتها زي الشبكة. وهي عمليا هذه شبكة المياه اللي بتوصل المي على الصبر على كل النفتة. عشان هيك هي عمليا بالرغم من سرقة المي بس احنا لسه صامدين. I'm gonna explain a little bit about if you are interested. Do you want to hear about it? Okay, what all I explained outside is kind of in here. What I have done since the 90s up till now, it's a form of resistance through my art, through my mediums, the cactus and all that. But here it summarizes everything. What you see of the maps here on the walls, they are the statistics and the OCHA maps, but they are actually projecting what we are living on the ground, daily life. And the siege of Gaza, and you can see the sign of OCHA here, and all the complications and all the statistics about the water, about the refugees and all that. And here in each wall you can see the historic map of Palestine, to say the least that this is not gonna change. You know, Palestine is Palestine. Never mind what happened here, but we have the historic map and there, a full wall, and the 4 walls around. this is like really a saying, this is a statement. But at the same time, you can see the maps of, this is what the UN, the OCHA maps and the international organization use to maneuver around and to move around Palestine. They cannot move around without these maps. In every office you find it, but we are living it here. In every delegation they come and they go, but we are living the real, the everyday life, and we are suffering. Our life is shattered. Our water has been stolen, our schools, our children suffering to go to school, to go to their gym, to go to anywhere. So our life is like hell. And we are living, the abnormal has become the norm for us. And we are refusing and we are resisting and we want to be liberated and free. So despite everything, there is still, our life is still going on with despite difficulties, but we want to still live in our homeland because nobody can deny our life to live peacefully. So of course there is so much information here. You can go ahead and read more. But my big take on this big organization, human rights organization and UN organization, they talk and talk and talk and issue reports over reports over reports. But at the end of the day, they do nothing on the ground. So these are facts on the ground that they affect our daily life. Even if you are sleeping, even if you are going to your university. So our daily life is shackled. Our daily life is on hold.
So this installation is also criticism.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We became a few files on the shelves of the organizations, even the UN, even the OCHA, even any human rights organization. Nobody can live and survive with such conditions. You know, if you are coming as a visitor, you can go 1 or 2 times through a checkpoint, but your life is actually so much attached to the situation. You cannot cross. I cannot go to Gaza. I cannot marry a Gazan. I cannot marry as a 48ers. I cannot marry a Gazan or a West Banker. If anybody from the West Bank want to go visit Jerusalem, they need a permit. Our life is actually turned into hell with checkpoints, with so many complications. But at the same time, what I'm exhibiting here is all the room is mapped. It's actually you feel dizzy, you feel uncomfortable, you know.
Sorry, I've seen that map in Jerusalem. So why did you choose that one? And does it have a history?
Yes, this is the map of 1580, and this is the map of the world where you see Europe, Africa, and Asia. And the center is Jerusalem. And this is the only part of the whole installation that it's not moving. And you can see this mobile is made out of cactus fibers. You know, was collected from many different locations of the villages to bring them back to life, to bring the remnants and the fragmented Palestine together, to say despite everything, because this is actually representing what we are seeing here, the fragmentation. And here I say a big saying that we, despite everything, we are still resisting. We have the right to resist. We have the right to live our life normally. The abnorm has become the norm in Palestine, and we are refusing. That's why we have the right to live our life and to raise our children, to have our right access to land and to water. We have West Bank and Gaza. The West Bank has no access to any sea, except for the Dead Sea. So how come? We are living in heaven, but we cannot use it. We cannot take advantage of it. We cannot enjoy it. That's why the cactus with the chocolate. That's why I gave you the introduction about my pieces and cactus and.
But it's that specific map that is one.
And Jerusalem is the center of the world, and
that's
it is
what it means.
Exactly, and it is the eternal capital of Palestine. Mr. Trump cannot give it for free and claim it and give it for for Israel. No, this is so unfair and so
And did you also see it in Jerusalem and then used it, or did you
No.
from?
I know it from a while. I know it since 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and even I want to tell you a bit about the cactus. They even stole our symbols. When they say, oh, the ones who were born here, they are the Sabra.
Yeah.
No, sorry, you are not the Sabra. The Sabra was here and you came and you invaded our land.